Well, thanks for coming in, viewers. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Proverbs 25:14. Like clouds and wind without rain is the person who boasts of gifts never given. When you look at this passage, this speaks of somebody who needed the rain from the clouds and the wind. And there's a lot of people that are in relationships that have been starved emotionally, psychologically, intimately, and physically. The clouds and the wind have been there, the person's been there. The capability for that person to love the person the right way has been there. There's no reason for that person not to be there except some kind of devious, covert, underlying motive to waste people's time. And you'll run into these people all the time. They're like clouds and wind without rain, without the relief. People should be in a relationship to empower one another, not to make conveniences of each other, which seems to be the way today, the sinful way today. And just because you're with somebody, if things aren't being resolved, I promise you, things aren't going to go well. Things are just not going to be the way that they should. I've known people that have been in marriages for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years to get to the point where the clouds and the winds have come over season after season, cycle after cycle, and there's been no rain. And these people have adapted to this drought-like relationship. They've allowed their faithfulness and loyalty to hold them in a relationship that's no more than a drought in a desert. And when the opportunities come, the clouds and winds come, and you think everything's going to get sorted out and resolved, there's no rain. There is just nothing there. So why do these people stay together? What are they trying to prove? Who are they trying to prove it to? When the person that needs their thirst quenched has come to the point where they just can't take it anymore. They can't take the narcissism, the psychopathic negligence, the laziness, the self-centeredness, and all the reasons and things that we can make up for things to be the way that they are. Usually one's going to blame the other. The problem is when the first lot of clouds and wind came over and there was no rain and nobody confronted the issue, or if they did and there wasn't a resolve, that was your signal to go to somewhere where it's going to rain. Well, that's not a Christian, isn't it? Too many people are staying in relationships where they're no different to a parched desert, the sand in the desert. And when the clouds and the winds come over and there is rain, people wonder why people have affairs. Finally, a cloud and wind that does deliver rain, somebody comes along that does have some quench in them. They're going to quench the thirst of that person. No point you turning around and complaining and saying, well, that shouldn't have happened, when you haven't given the rain. You've kept the clouds and the wind there, or you've presented yourself and made it look like it's going to rain. Convince that person that one day it's going to rain. One day these clouds, see these beautiful clouds, and this wonderful wind. Oh, they're going to bring rain one day, but they're not going to. You think back 12 months, 24 months, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of the misery of standing there waiting for those clouds to drop the rain. And nothing. Nothing. The next lot of cloud. Nothing. Nothing. And all the while, the person that you were with had you convinced that they were giving you what you needed. You were deceived. You allowed your faithfulness and loyalty to deceive you, possibly for decades. How many stories do we hear? I was married to a narcissist. I was married to a covert, passive-aggressive narcissist. I was married to a psychopath. Some people have been married to psychopaths and never even knew. They were out killing of a night. I tell you what, if my partner's not at home when they should be and they're just wandering the streets of a night for whatever reason, I ain't staying with that person. Are you? Too many people have been convinced that the person that they're with is a gift. And you would hope that, you would wish for that, you would want that. But if they're no different to clouds and wind without rain, why would you listen to what they have to boast about? What gifts they have? A gift that equals nothing may as well not be a gift at all. Many a person proclaims their loving devotion. Oh yeah, I've had women say, come in with situations where it's just so out of order, and you've just had to surrender to the dysfunction, the unproportionate, immeasurable dysfunction, right? And turn around, and when you've agreed with it all and you've demasculinized yourself to try and keep the peace with people that don't like you, this person's trying to have a relationship with you, there's other people in the fray that just don't like you, and this person's trying to show their devotion, but they're split between one side and the other. And they're saying that they love you, but they're not sure themselves. That's not a trustworthy person. That's why it says, many a person proclaims their loving devotion. But who can find a trustworthy person? You don't know what you're dealing with until you look up at the clouds and look up at the wind and go, where is the rain? I can't keep giving you. I can't keep being there without the rain. You've run away with yourself. You're not what you think. You think you're a gift, but you're not. If you're a gift, why have I got psychological trauma? Why do I feel intimately starved? Why aren't you there when I need you? Why is there these big gaps between you and me? Because sometimes we idolize people to such a state, we become entrained, we become programmed to believe that things that are no good for us have to be tolerated. People will drug themselves, they'll drink themselves, they'll psychologically vandalize themselves to make them become able to believe things that they know that aren't right for them. Like clouds and wind without rain, is a lover who boasts of gifts never given, is a partner who boasts of gifts never given. Psychological gifts, the gifts that matter, the gifts that bring power to a relationship, not just getting it down in the bedroom. That could be a problem for some of you, but why would you tolerate that? Why would you tolerate sex that's cloud and wind without rain? Many of you people have been conditioned not to respond to things that don't suit you because it's a sign of disloyalty. No. There's base 101 relationship principles that have to be adhered to for the thing to work. And if it's not legit, if those clouds and wind are just withholding the rain's there, but it's just withholding them, doesn't want to share it, doesn't want to share its gifts. There are people that won't share their gifts. I'm telling you now. I've seen dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of marriages that have gone down the tubes because somebody's just shut off the rain. Christian and worldly alike. As a matter of fact, possibly worse with the Christians. And they boast about themselves, and they're all full of themselves and their God, and their partners and their families are going down the tubes. The addicts, the alcoholics, they age and hurt themselves and ruin themselves. They're all trying to run around and rescue each other's lives. They got the clouds and the wind. They're all responding to that. But where's the rain? Where is the rain? Too many of you have let too many people off the hook too easily. And you've paid for it psychologically, physically, emotionally, you name it, you've paid for it. Some of you have had serious accidents because you've been neglected so badly in your relationship. Some of you might never recover. Some of you, not all of you, have just been so badly neglected and abused because you made an environment for yourself where you pretended it was raining, but it was no different to a desert. The other person just would not resolve. You did not try and stand up for what was right at the start. When the first lot of clouds and winds come over without rain, that's when you should have said, hang on a sec. What is this here? Are we going to get this right? I always do, and for the most part, at least at the start, they respond. And then it deteriorates from there, and then you go, righto then, thank you for coming, and bye for now. And 9 times out of 10, it's not sexually related, just for the record. Never has been. It's always some other silly matter. But you'll find 9 out of 10 of these people love themselves. They think they're the gift of the gift, but they're not. Because they're never given. They never gave 2 F's about you. You were just a form of supply. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Thank you for joining me. And bye for now.